from the moment the heavy velvet curtain quivered under the backstage breeze. 22-year-old Lyle sensed that tonight was going to change everything, not just for her but for the group of young women she now called family. And as she pressed her trembling fingers against her embroidered costume, listening to the distant hum of a restless audience, she wondered how it was possible that a dream born in a quiet desert town could lead her to this stage in Dubai, where lights glowed like rising suns and hearts beat in anticipation. She could feel her pulse sinking with the murmurs on the other side, a harmony of expectation that tightened and comforted her all at once, and as she exhaled, she reminded herself that Arab girls seduced the stage was only a metaphor printed boldly across the event poster, a symbolic way of saying they would captivate the audience. Wheat, elegance, emotion, and art, rather than anything inappropriate. A reassurance, she repeated silently, because the world often misunderstood their culture, their intentions, their deep reverence for dance as storytelling, healing, unity. Leo's group, the Dunes of Grace, consisted of 5 adult women: Leo, Mariam, Farah, Liane, and Yara, each from different parts of the Middle East, each carrying silent histories etched into their bones. And as they gathered in a shaky semicircle, their palms overlapping like petals of a single blooming flower, they exchanged fragile smiles that held years of practice, sacrifice, and resilience. Tonight wasn't just another performance. It was a fundraiser, an event dedicated to raising money for displaced families who had lost everything in a recent earthquake, and every dancer in the group had chosen to participate not for fame, but for service, for offering beauty in a world aching for warmth, for proving that art could heal wounds deeper than stone fractures. The host announced their name, sending a ripple of tension and focus through their bodies, and as the music technician cued their track, Leao recalled the exact moment months ago when she suggested they dedicate a dance to the victims, a piece filled with imagery of rising from ruin, light from dust, hope from despair, and the overwhelming emotion that filled the rehearsal studio when each woman shared a personal story of someone they had lost or someone they longed to protect. Now, as they stepped onto the stage, the first thing Leal noticed was the darkness, thick, expectant, electrified by the slow bloom of amber spotlights that revealed the immense crowd, thousands of strangers whose breath became one echoing presence. The moment that first note vibrated through the speakers, Leal felt herself slipping into an emotional trance, a sensation she knew well. The merging of heart and rhythm, the dissolving of fear, the realization that she was no longer dancing for people but with them, sharing a narrative in movement rather than words. Farah's opening gesture, a trembling hand, reaching outward as if calling for help, captured the audience immediately. And Lael felt the air shift, felt people leaning in, drawn by an unspoken promise. The choreography unfolded like a rising storm. Movements sharp yet soft, grounded yet floating, carrying hints of traditional dabip, intertwined with modern contemporary shapes, echoing history and hope in a single sweeping wave. The audience watched, mesmerized, as Maryam twirled through the center, her skirt blooming like a desert flower after rainfall, while Lean's sweeping arm motions painted invisible arcs of survival and rebirth across the stage. Leal saw eyes widening in the crowd, felt breaths catch, sensed hearts racing, not because of seduction in the romantic sense, but because these women poured their souls into each step, seducing the stage itself, making the polished floor tremble with meaning. Then, an unexpected shift. Halfway through the routine, the sound system crackled, stuttered, and died, plunging the stage into a sudden hush that made Leal's heart drop. She exchanged a panicked glance with Yara, knowing that restarting the track would break the sacred atmosphere they had built, and for a moment, the silence felt cruel, threatening to undo months of preparation. But then, something remarkable happened, something none of them could have planned for. A soft hum floated from the front row, fragile yet unwavering. Then, another joined it, and another. Within seconds, the entire audience began humming the melody they had heard only moments earlier, as though a single unseen thread connected every soul in the room. The dancers looked at one another, stunned, breathless, and Leal felt tears burning behind her eyes, because this spontaneous union was the true magic of humanity. Drawn by the moment, they continued dancing without music, guided only by the audience's voices and the rhythm of their own hearts. Their synchronized steps echoed softly against the wooden boards, and the audience's collective hum wove around them like a warm embrace, transforming the performance into something sacred, something unforgettable. And just when Lael thought the night had already reached its peak, another unexpected twist unfolded. In the front row, an older woman with silver hair and an elegant posture rose slowly to her feet, her eyes shimmering with tears. She placed her hand over her heart, and suddenly she began to sing, not loudly, not powerfully, but with such raw fragility that the entire room trembled. The haunting Arabic lullaby she sang was one Lael recognized instantly. Her grandmother had sung it whenever Lael was frightened as a child. The melody spoke of rebuilding, of standing tall after storms, of finding light in broken places. As the woman's voice quivered through the hall, Lael felt a deep ache swell in her chest, and without cue, the dancers adjusted their movements to match the rhythm of the song. The audience, hearing the lullaby, softened their hum to accompany her like a choir. It was no longer a performance, it was a collective healing. The climax of the night came when Lael stepped forward for her final solo, arms shaking slightly from emotion, and instead of executing the complex turn she had rehearsed, she knelt on the stage, pressed her palm flat against the floor, and lifted her gaze toward the audience with tears streaking down her cheeks. The entire auditorium fell silent. In that stillness, Lael whispered the only words her trembling lips could form. "We dance for those who cannot stand tonight." It wasn't scripted, it wasn't planned, but it shattered every heart in the room. Her teammates gathered around her, forming a circle of protection, unity, and love. And the moment they all rose together, hands interlocked, bodies aligned, felt like the earth itself was rising with them. When the music finally returned, fading back and like dawn returning after a long night, the audience erupted. Not with cheers at first, but with the kind of applause that felt like gratitude, like solidarity, like a shared heartbeat across thousands. When she witnessed the dancers' performance and their resilience, when the music felt, she knew she had found something meaningful. She told the group that she wanted to partner with them, fund their future shows, and use their talent to raise global awareness and funds for people in crisis. The room fell into stunned silence. For Lael, whose family had struggled endlessly to support her dream of dancing professionally, this kindness hit harder than any applause could. When Dr. Harper knelt down to embrace Lael, whispering, "Your dance saved a piece of me tonight," Lael broke into sobs, overwhelmed by the realization that art had become a bridge between suffering and hope. In the weeks that followed, the video of the night, especially the moment when the music stopped and the audience hummed, went viral across the world. News outlets called it the performance that united strangers, and millions watched as the dancers moved with unmatched emotion beneath flickering lights. Donations poured in, surpassing anything the humanitarian event had previously raised. The girls traveled internationally to perform for compassion-driven causes, and every stage they touched felt transformed by the story they carried, proof that kindness could grow in the unlikeliest moments, that generosity could bloom from silence, that humanity could rise even in the darkest places. Lael often thought about how fragile the night had begun, how fear could have easily swallowed her whole, and yet the beauty of the world showed itself instead through a humming crowd, a grieving mother's lullaby, an unexpected partnership, and the unbreakable bond between 5 Arab women who simply wanted to bring light into the world. And as their journey continued, Lael found herself returning to a single truth she had learned that night, that sometimes the most breathtaking things are born not from perfection, but from vulnerability, not from control, but from community, not from grandeur, but from hearts willing to open themselves to others. In the end, they didn't just seduce the stage, they awakened compassion in thousands of people across borders, cultures, and languages, proving that humanity's greatest strength lies in its ability to feel, connect, and rise together.